In 2019, audiences were drawn into a chilling tale of grief and terror with The Curse of La Llorona. The film introduced her as a veiled specter drifting through the darkness, her face hidden, her gown soaked with tears, and her cry echoing like a funeral dirge. She is portrayed as a relentless predator, cursed to hunt children and drag them into the shadows. In the movie, families lock their doors in fear. Holy water burns against her touch, and her weeping becomes a death sentence for anyone who hears it. The story builds on her legend as though she were nothing more than another demonic spirit, an antagonist to battle with priests and charms. But here's the truth. The legend of La Llorona is far older, far deeper, and far more tragic than Hollywood's version. Long before the cinema turned her into a monster of jump scares, she was already haunting riversides, night roads, and village homes. To the people of Mexico and across Latin America, La Llorona is not just fiction. She is a warning, a curse, and, some believe, a presence that still walks among us. But where did she come from? The legend of La Llorona begins not in the cinema, but in whispers carried across centuries. Long ago, in the heart of Mexico, there was a beautiful young woman. Her name, some say, was Maria. She lived in a small village near a river, admired for her grace and charm. Many men sought her hand, but her eyes fell upon a wealthy nobleman who rode into town. Against the warnings of her family, she gave him her heart. For a time, the love seemed perfect. They had children, 2, sometimes 3, depending on the version told. Maria adored them, and for a while, she believed she had everything she ever dreamed of.
But happiness, in these stories, is fragile. The nobleman grew distant. He spent more time away, returning with expensive clothes and whispers of other women. One night, Maria saw him with another lady, younger, dressed in jewels she could never afford. Rage consumed her, fueled by betrayal and heartbreak. In the legend's most haunting moment, Maria led her children to the riverbank under the moonlight. Blinded by despair, she pushed them into the rushing waters, and their cries echoed until silence swallowed the night. When she realized what she had done, grief shattered her soul. Maria ran along the river, calling out for her children, but it was too late. Some say she drowned herself in the same waters. Others claim she simply wasted away, her spirit bound by eternal sorrow. From that night onward, villagers swore they heard her weeping drifting through the night air. "Ay, mis hijos, my children, where are my children?" But here is the unsettling truth. No one version of the story is the same. Some tell of a proud woman, whose vanity and desire for wealth led her astray. Others whisper of a scorned lover, who murdered her children out of jealousy, then wandered cursed for eternity. In certain regions, the tale changes entirely. La Llorona is not Maria at all, but a spirit born of Aztec mythology, linked to the goddess Cihuacóatl, who wept for her people before the Spanish conquest. Each telling shifts with time, with culture, with fear, yet every version ends the same way. A woman, weeping by the river, searching endlessly for children she will never find. And thus, she became La Llorona, the weeping woman, neither alive nor at rest, doomed to wander riversides, searching for the children she lost, and sometimes mistaking the living for her own. Legends are powerful because they do not stay on the page. They seep into real life, into midnight whispers, roadside accidents, and police reports that remain unexplained. Across Mexico and the American Southwest, there are countless stories of people who swear they encountered La Llorona. One of the most chilling is told by families living near rivers. Parents warn their children not to play outside at night, for fear of hearing the cry. A young boy once described waking in the dead of night to the sound of a woman weeping just beyond his window. When he peered outside, he saw a tall figure dressed in white, her face obscured, her hair dripping as though soaked in river water. By the time his parents rushed to check, the figure had vanished, leaving only the echo of her wail. Another account, reported in New Mexico, tells of children who disappeared while walking home near an irrigation ditch. Locals insisted it was La Llorona who mistook them for her own lost children, dragging them into the water. Police found no evidence of foul play, but the families still claim the cries of a woman haunted their nights for years afterward, and sometimes she is said to appear far from the rivers. Drivers along desolate highways recall seeing a woman in white standing by the roadside, weeping. Some slowed their cars, thinking she was a stranded traveler, but when they approached, the figure simply vanished into thin air. or worse, appeared suddenly in the back seat, her scream filling the car until it veered off the road. Many unexplained accidents in Mexico and Texas have been attributed to her. What makes La Llorona especially terrifying is the variety of these encounters. For some, she is a mournful presence, crying endlessly but never harming. For others, she is dangerous, seeking to claim living children to replace the ones she lost. Even grown men have described feeling their body drag toward rivers or ditches after hearing her cries. And yet, every account shares one detail: the sound of a mother's grief. A cry that begins softly, like a sob carried on the wind, but soon rises into a scream that chills the blood. Whether these stories are superstition, coincidences, or something darker, one truth remains: people across generations believe they have heard her. And in folklore, belief is often just as powerful as fact. When La Llorona entered mainstream cinema, her story was transformed. In The Curse of La Llorona, 2019, the ghost became a Hollywood antagonist, a spectral figure stalking a family, complete with jump scares and supernatural battles. Audiences screamed, theaters shook with tension, and she joined the pantheon of cinematic horror icons. But folklore tells a different story. In the villages where her cry is whispered about, there are no priests with charms, no magic rituals to banish her. There is only the sound of weeping in the dark, and the paralyzing fear of what waits by the water's edge. The true La Llorona is not an entertainment. It is a warning, woven into generations of families. The film portrays her as a monster to be defeated. But in reality, her legend reflects tragedy, guilt, and human cruelty. A woman betrayed, a mother driven to despair, children lost forever. The terror lies not in defeating her, but in the truth that she cannot be defeated. Because she is sorrow itself, and sorrow is eternal. In interviews, folklorists have noted that the scariest part of La Llorona's tale isn't her appearance. It's the way her story shifts with each retelling. Sometimes she is a warning to misbehaving children, sometimes a reminder of colonial trauma, sometimes a symbol of grief no one can escape. Unlike the film, the legend refuses to stay confined to one script. This is why audiences often leave theaters unsettled. Yes, the movie delivered jumps and scares, but when the credits rolled, many realized the real story is darker, more tragic, and far less escapable. You can walk out of a cinema, but you cannot walk out of folklore. So the next time you hear about La Llorona, remember, she is not just a ghost from a film. She is a mother's eternal grief, echoing through centuries, waiting by the riverside. Which do you find more terrifying, the Hollywood version, or the endless, shifting folklore told by generations? Tell us below.